The United Kingdom is facing one of the most serious pension challenges in its history. Millions of people either have not saved enough for retirement or have little idea what kind of income they will have when they stop working. The government has now introduced major pension reforms aimed at increasing investment and boosting growth. But the question remains, will these changes truly help pensioners, or could they make the situation even worse? To understand the depth of this crisis, let's begin with what experts call a reasonable retirement income. The Pensions and Lifetime Savings Association has set out three tiers: a minimum income, a moderate income, and a comfortable income. While everyone's lifestyle is different, these levels provide a clear guide to what it actually takes to live securely after retirement. However, recent surveys show that many people are far from achieving even the minimum level. A large national survey asked more than 16,000 people about their expectations for retirement. One in five had no idea what their income would be, while another 15% expected to live on less than the minimum recommended level. When you consider this across the whole country, it means millions of people heading into retirement unsure of how they will make ends meet. Even more concerning, many believe they have saved enough, but calculations show otherwise. These are the so-called undersavers, people with unrealistic expectations about what their pensions will provide. Only a small group, around 14%, felt confident that they would be financially secure in retirement. For everyone else, the future looks uncertain. The root of the problem lies in poor financial education and a lack of awareness about how pensions actually work. Many people have no idea how to calculate their potential retirement income or how much they need to save to maintain their lifestyle. Without proper guidance, they risk facing a sharp drop in quality of life when they finally stop working. The government's response has been swift and ambitious. The most significant change is consolidation. Rather than having hundreds of small pension funds scattered across the country, the plan is to merge them into large, powerful mega funds. According to officials, these larger funds will generate better returns for workers and free up billions for investment in clean energy and high-growth British businesses. The government views pension savings as a potential engine for economic growth, capital that can be unlocked to support national development. However, this strategy brings both opportunities and risks. Pension funds exist to serve savers, not the economy. While it sounds ideal for both goals to align, higher returns for investors and faster growth for the country, that balance is difficult to achieve. The total capital locked in UK pensions stands at around £3 trillion, a huge sum that could have major economic influence. But the challenge lies in how that money is used. Most older workers in the UK once benefited from defined benefit pensions, which guaranteed a fixed income for life, often linked to inflation. Those plans have mostly closed. Today, most savers have defined contribution pensions, meaning their retirement income depends entirely on how well their investments perform. If markets fall, so does their pension. This is why many fund managers have shifted money overseas toward US and international markets that offer stronger returns than the UK's. To address this, the government has pushed for more investment in domestic assets. The idea is that pension funds should channel at least 10% of their default investments into private assets and at least 5% directly into UK-based ventures by 2030. Private investments include things like private equity and private credit, where investors fund companies that are not listed on public stock exchanges. The goal is to support smaller, fast-growing firms that can boost the UK economy. While this may sound promising, it raises several concerns. Private investments are much harder to sell quickly, creating liquidity risks. If markets crash and funds need to raise cash, they might struggle to sell these assets fast enough. Such risks became clear during recent market shocks when pension funds were forced to sell liquid assets like stocks and bonds at a loss just to stay afloat. Another major issue is cost. Private investment funds often charge high fees, sometimes 1 or 2% a year, plus performance bonuses. These fees eat directly into returns, meaning savers could end up with less money over time. Transparency is another problem. Many of these funds are complex, with multiple layers of expenses hidden behind management, administration, and deal costs. Performance reporting is also questionable. Private equity often advertises high returns, but much of that comes from how those returns are calculated. The internal rate of return, or IRR, can exaggerate early profits and hide long-term underperformance. In many cases, the actual returns investors receive are far lower than the figures published by fund managers. So, while the reforms aim to create a stronger, more efficient pension system, they may expose savers to new risks. Consolidating funds makes sense. It cuts costs, improves oversight, and gives investors more power. But forcing pensions to invest heavily in UK assets or private markets could backfire if those investments fail to deliver. Pension funds must balance national growth goals with their duty to protect retirees' savings. For millions of future retirees, the stakes could not be higher. The UK pension system needs both growth and security. It must encourage investment while ensuring that people who worked all their lives can retire with confidence and dignity. If done right, these reforms could mark the beginning of a stronger, fairer retirement system. But if handled poorly, they could deepen the crisis that already affects millions of pensioners across the United Kingdom.